Hello and welcome back to Annie-Cap Explained. Today we'll be recapping Chainsaw Man. Let's begin. In a certain street there appears to be a door which is opened by the protagonist Denji. Just as he opens the door, the scene shifts and he awakens next to his devil pet Pochita. They head out as Denji calculates his remaining debt after selling his body parts chopping wood and hunting devils. On their way, they run into a tomato devil. Denji chops it up with his chainsaw devil. His employer pays him 1,800 yen after deducting his debt installments and other charges. Denji tells Pochita that they again will have to live on a single slice of bread. In a flashback, Denji stands upon his father's grave, crying out his grief as he is left all alone with the debt of billions of yen that his father had borrowed from a Yakuza gang and hanged himself before paying it off. Now that they have come to collect the debt, he is forced to pay, otherwise he will be chopped and his parts will be sold. That is when he hears the roar of a chainsaw. As he turns back, there is a dog-like creature with a chainsaw mounted on his head, a devil. Catching the sight of the chainsaw devil's injuries, he sympathizes and offers him his blood as he knows that human blood heals devils. And as it accepts his blood, Denji makes a contract that they'll help each other out. Denji names the devil Pochita. To the current date, both are working for the Yakuza gang to pay off their debt. At night, Denji is unable to sleep because of utter hunger and is unable to dream. Meanwhile, Pochita comes up to him and listens to his dream of eating bread with jam, hanging out with a girl and hugging her as they sleep. That is when Yakuza members come knocking on the door and take him to hunt down a devil. They take him to an old abandoned factory while Denji keeps complaining if there is a devil. Their leader praises his loyalty, saying he is loyal as a dog and they are grateful for having him, but he can't stand a dog. As he continues to talk, a devil comes running from the dark and puts his sword through Denji's back and passes straight through Pochita's heart. Their leader reveals that like him they have made a contract with a devil as they wanted demonic powers. Denji tries to run, but he and Pochita end up getting chopped and tossed into the garbage. In another flashback, Pochita is sitting with Denji. As they talk, he tells Pochita to take over his body if someday he dies fighting devils. Now as Denji is dying, Pochita takes over his body and becomes his heart, saying it is a contract and telling him to accomplish his dreams. Denji rises from the dumpster. Zombie devil is surprised to see him alive, saying it is impossible. As the zombies rush to kill him, he pulls the string on his chest. A chainsaw comes out of his head and his arms in a gruesome way. With his new power, he kills the zombies and rushes to kill the zombie devil, slicing him in half. Denji looks around. There are still zombies remaining and he says they hired him to kill devils, so he must kill, and chops them all like butter. The next morning, a car arrives. A girl with pink hair along with two men dressed in black comes out and enters the factory. Encountering the gruesome scene, they spot Denji. She explains to them that he isn't possessed and approaches him. Denji asks her to hug him, which she immediately does, making his chainsaws melt as she lays him down. She introduces herself as Makima, a devil hunter from public safety, and gives him two choices: to die as a devil by her hands or work for her. She further explains his breakfast is bread with jam, to which he immediately agrees. Before we move forward, please take a moment to subscribe. Done? Well then, let's continue. Makima and Denji are on their way back to public safety headquarters. Makima asks for his name and advises him to answer with yes or woof and will not tolerate no to her orders. Later she gives him her coat as he is shirtless and is willing to pay for his meal. This makes Denji fall for her. On their way they stop at a restaurant and Denji orders an udon bowl. While doing so, he falls on Makima's chest and stays there for a while. She asks him how he became as this, and Denji explains to her that his pet devil became his heart. Due to the loss of blood, Denji passes out. He later wakes up on Makima's lap. His udon bowl is ready. Makima feeds him as he is unable to eat. As they eat, Denji asks her about the types of boys she likes. To his surprise, she likes Denji-type boys. Later in public safety headquarters, Tokyo, Denji is given a uniform. She then introduces him to his co-worker Aki Hayakawa. Denji keeps insisting on working with Makima, but Aki drags him out. As they leave the headquarters, Denji keeps asking him about Makima and whether she has a boyfriend or not. Irritated by his behavior, Aki takes him to an alley and beats him up, telling him to quit the job as he isn't serious enough. But Denji secures his ground and kicks his balls again and again until he passes out. Makima decides to add Denji to the Hayakawa unit as it is an experimental unit and thus is best suited for Denji. She explains Denji's special condition to Aki, ordering him to kill if he ever tries to run. As for now, Denji will be staying at Aki's place. They turn back discussing whether Makima is good or bad. Aki tells Denji to be grateful that she left him alive. He further tells him that she saved his life as well. Denji looks back into his recent memories of Makima and wishes to hug her again, to which Aki is freaked out. At his house, Aki is stunned to see his awkward and messed up lifestyle. The next day they leave for Denji's first hunt. The target is a man possessed by the devil, which makes it a fiend. Denji and Aki enter the house. Aki asks Denji to use his powers, but he takes off its head with an axe instead, saying he wanted to kill it painlessly. Aki is pissed at him that he is not serious while everyone is risking their lives for their children and families, and revealing that his family was killed by them. At the same time, Denji remembers Pochita and talks to himself, saying that he is enjoying his life to the fullest. But some things are missing. Everyone has some ambition. Aki wants revenge, and the policemen are trying to protect their families. So his new goal is touching a girl's breasts. Later at Makima's office, she introduces him to his new partner Power, and that they will be allowed to go on small missions with some precautions as a 2-member team. She tells them to get some results as the higher-ups are looking for excuses to dissolve the unit. Then they leave for their mission of looking for devils to hunt. As they are exploring the roof, Power gets excited by the smell of blood. She immediately runs after it. With her blood, she makes a large hammer and jumps off the roof, crushing the devil into bits. Makima arrives on the scene and scolds Power for killing a devil that was booked by someone else. She further explains that Power used to be the blood devil, using blood for battle, and maybe isn't suited to be a devil hunter. Power, who is afraid of Makima for some reason, puts all the blame on Denji, saying he told her to do it, and it turns into a messy argument until Makima stops them and asks them to work together. Later at night, Denji gets canned juice from a vending machine, saying it is like a dream for him to get juice like that. Meanwhile, Power comforts a stray cat. Denji asks her to get along, but she says she is only comfortable around cats and hates humans. She reveals that a devil has taken her cat away. But before she could save her, she fell into Makima's clutches. And if she can save her cat, she is ready to follow humans. Power asks Denji to save her cat in exchange for touching her breasts. Hearing this, Denji is ready to beat the devil down to earth. In a meeting with the higher-ups, Makima calls Denji interesting. Aki asks her why she said so, to which she explains the devil is strong as it is feared by more people. If there exists a coffee devil, it will be weak. But a car devil will be stronger, as it is easier to imagine getting run over by a car. As Denji can turn into a chainsaw devil, it makes him interesting. The next day, Power gets her leave, and with Denji they head to save her cat. As they reach the house in the middle of nowhere, Power knocks Denji down and drags him into the house. There she gives his body to a bat devil in exchange for her cat. Bat devil grasps Denji and smashes him, drinking his blood, while Power stands there and calls Denji foolish for falling into her trap. But when she asks the bat devil to release her cat, he eats the cat instead. In a flashback, when she was alone, her cat was there for her until the bat devil took her away. Back to the present, he eats Power as well. At the same time, Denji grabbed his leg and drinks his blood. He goes into his chainsaw form and cuts off the devil's arm as they fall on a building, almost destroying it. But Bat Devil keeps asking if Denji is a devil, then why is he helping humans? As they fight on the open road, Bat Devil shouts out an ultrasonic sound, leaving several buildings in plain view. But Denji survives and splits open his guts in his next moves. Denji stands there as the devil's blood continues to drop out. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please consider liking and subscribing. We'll see you at the next one.